Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, bestie. How are you today? I hope you're having a fantastic day. So, we have something very, very special going on today. I am going to finally start Crescent City. So in the video that I did where my besties pick my TBR, this was Bailey's pick. I'll put Bailey's Instagram right here. Ding! So Bailey picked Crescent City and I'm buddy reading it with my friend Kennedy. I'll also put her Instagram here. Ding! And I'm so excited. I'm very nervous because everyone's like, it's hard to get into. They say that and then they say, oh, the first 200 pages. Are you kidding? That's a whole book. But I will try my best. I will try to be patient. Basically expect the worst and just be happy with what I get. That's the place that I'm in right now. So I figured I'd take you along with me on my journey of experiencing this for the first time. But I haven't really seen spoilers for Crescent City. I've been avoiding them like it's my job. So I'm just very excited to experience this. So I wanted to jump in here real quick and give you my completely spoiler-free thoughts on the book. I definitely feel like people really dig into, oh, the world building is so hard to get into. The first 200 pages, like you just got to get past that and then it's good. Honestly, the first part, that first like 90 pages, the first chapter was hard to get into, but after that, it was smooth sailing for me. I didn't feel overwhelmed by the world building or anything. It was just whatever. I figured it'll be explained to me later, so just keep moving. But I liked the stuff that happened in part one. Part two was kind of slow, but there was still stuff happening. And then part 3 and 4, amazing. I think I would give this book a 4.5 out of 5, just because that second part was just like kind of drawn out. I don't know, like if a book can make me cry, it's usually automatically 5 stars. I just feel like there's room for it to get better in the other books, so I don't want to give it like the full 5 stars, but I'd say it was like 4.5. And this is a message for Bailey. Hi, Bailey. Thank you so much for recommending this book. I am slowly descending into madness, but I'm here for it. But this is going to serve as your spoiler warning. This is my reactions as I'm reading the book, my guess as to what I think is going to happen in the future. So yeah, this is not a spoiler-free vlog. It is every nitty-gritty detail that I hyper-focused on. Also, please no spoilers for books 2 or 3 because I have not read them yet, but I hope you enjoy. Chapter 1, I'm just like, this is a lot. Also, Danica is a little confusing to me. Like, I get that she can, shapeshift, but does she always have like claws on her hands? Is that a stupid question? So of course I've seen the fan art for Rune. He's Bryce's half-brother. Really? Okay, so like barely into it, like 50 pages. But why is Connor just like doing it for me? And I've never heard Connor's name before, so I have a sneaking feeling he's not gonna stick around for very long. However, him trying so hard to like go on a date with Bryce and then to be like, text me to get home safe. A gentleman. It said earlier that Bryce was like one of 2 houses, and I feel like that's going to be very important. So that was one of my little tabbies. In other news, SJM, what the actual fuck? Because Danica? 68 pages in on chapter 6. Are you joking? Are you kidding me right now? Like, here I am getting so excited about Connor. Like, oh, cute. Like, her and Connor are going on a date. Like, let me know when I get home safe. Not cool. Not cool. And honestly, I thought Danica was like a main character, like somebody who stuck around for quite a while. So when I find out 60 pages in that that's not gonna happen, I got a bone to pick with SJM. The shock of like turning the page and being like, that's what just happened. And then I'm like, oh no, like she's just hallucinating. She's gonna wake up and everyone's gonna be fine. Okay. Using a staple gun as a way to close a wound is absolutely wild. I really, for some reason, thought that Danica was like a long-term main character. I thought she was like gonna stick around for a while. So I was genuinely shocked when Bryce comes back to the apartment. I was like blown away. Absolutely blown away. Now, here's where I start to get a little confused. So, Rune is talking to Hunt and is like, oh, she's my cousin. But Bryce was saying that Rune is her half-brother. So which one is it? I feel like Hunt is the love interest. I can't tell. But I've heard things about Rune, so I'm like, is he the love interest? But like, that's her brother cousin. SJM just love to do that, don't she? Also, super fast want to address, so when they talk about how the Fae like came to the world that Crescent City exists in, they're like, oh, ever since they stepped through the rift. I have a screenshot of that paragraph. It's like right when Rune is introduced. I'll put it, I think I can put it right here. But I was looking at it, and for me, minor spoilers for other books, but for me, this reminded me so much of In Throne of Glass. They were like, yeah, the Fae just disappeared. Like, they just walked off the face of the earth, never saw them again. Did the Fae from Throne of Glass, like, pick up, leave, and end up in the world of Crescent City? That's just... I don't know. That's just a thought that I had as soon as I read it. I was like, back up. Okay, so just learned about needing an anchor. And I have a sneaking feeling that Rune is going to be the anchor for Bryce when she does the drop. But that's just my guess. So Hunt just shows up to her job and is like, surprise, Maximus is dead and you were the last person seen with him. So like, let's talk about it. Did Rune kill him? That's my guess. My guess is it was Rune after the whole thing that happened at the club. Them thinking that Bryce killed Danica and the whole pack and then also killed Maximus is crazy to me. I really don't know how important this is going to be, but they're telling like the 7 territories of hell, and the first 4 names are like the 4 parts of this book. So the hollow, the trench, the canyon, and the ravine are parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of this book. So I wonder if in like book 2 they continue on with that theme. Just something I noticed. I don't know how to feel about like immortals being able to like grow back their extremities that get cut off. Like, that's just interesting, like an interesting piece of information to have, but is it necessary? Also, are we gonna get like a bodyguard romance situation almost between Hunt and Bryce where like he's told that he needs to protect her and it's a very that? Is that what we're getting? I could be so wrong. My jaw's on the floor. What? The royal bloodline ends with him? Huh? I wasn't expecting that. But I was like, oh, he didn't tell his dad what the oracle really said. The bloodline ends with him. Oh my god, what's gonna happen to him? I love that Bryce knows that she's being followed by Hunt and she's like, I'm gonna go get my nails done. Like, the energy, love it. Love that energy. And we're getting like the tiniest bit of banter between the two of them and I'm kind of loving it. I'm excited to see where this goes. When it says, her eyes really did glow then, as if a distant fire simmered within. I think that's a hint. Minor spoiler for ACOTAR. So her boss and all these pets, and it says that once she had a pet Kelpie. Isn't it in Silver Flames that there's Kelpies? Are there not Kelpies in ACOTAR, or am I crazy? Did I make that up? So I'm assuming Hunt is the love interest, but I've seen almost nothing about Hunt and a lot of stuff about Rune. And is it one of those things that like because Rune is a shadow daddy, everyone's like, oh my god, he's so hot, like Azriel, where it's like we literally see barely any Azriel, but everyone's like foaming at the mouth over him? Is that what it is? Or is he like hot later, you know? I really love how Hunt is like really delicate with Bryce when he needs to. He's like, well, what's one good memory you have? Like with Danica the week before she died. And I just feel like he's being like so soft with her there, but is like so rough around the edges, like literally any other time. And welcome to the mini series of me looking for any connection to Throne of Glass or ACOTAR, because this is the last series that I'm reading by this author. So, it's described that Bryce is like very still, like she goes very still. And then it says, the stillness of the Fae, like a stag halting in the wood. And you know, my Throne of Glass girlies know. I was just like, oh, is that important or am I just crazy? I think Jessica is suspicious. Like every time we talk to her, I'm like, what is this? Like, who does she think she is? So I'm interested to see where her character goes, but I'm very suspicious of her. And then where I just ended was Bryce finding out that the angel that she saved in the alley was Micah, which I feel like is such a big deal. Like I thought that angel like died. So the fact that she saved Micah, I feel like is very important to the story. The flashback to the accident where Danica like wraps herself around Bryce, and then in that same scene, like Danica saying that she loves her, and then Bryce just telling her to close her eyes. Like, I wasn't ready for that today. But then cut to her throwing herself over, oh my god, her other friend, June? Is that her name? Oh, Juniper. Juniper calls her June, yes. Throwing herself over Juniper, and then Juniper hitting her. Like, Juniper, relax. She's just trying to tell you she loves you. And then the club just like exploding out of nowhere, absolutely crazy. And then cutting to I get distracted by people walking by. But then cut to Rune being like, oh, the Autumn King says that like somebody needs to be living with you, so I volunteered. Sir, who asked you? So she's like, no, it's gonna be Hunt. And I was like, oh, forced proximity. Bryce wearing Danica's leather jacket is just like, it's so sweet. And like, I just feel like the knife is just being twisted and twisted and twisted, and we're not even getting started. Did Danica steal the horn? Is it just me? They just matched the book, so that's why. Yeah, but did Danica steal the horn? Because they're like, oh, maybe the scent was on her because she was near the temple. And then the demon that's hunting the horn kills her? Something's not adding up. How do we feel about Micah? Because he just asked to take Bryce to dinner. Is it like a thank you dinner or like a date? I can't tell. I'm like 99% sure that Hunt is the love interest, but I just don't understand what's going on with Micah. I need to know what this oracle said to Bryce 12 years ago. What happened? Don't do me like that. Be like, oh, did you want to know what I told her 12 years ago? And he's like, no. Don't speak for the rest of us. Like, I want to know. Also, the oracle saying like, do yourself a favor and stay far away from Bryce. He's not going to. But why did she say that? What is going on? Wow, we have much to discuss. So, okay. The first light from the drop being used as like this source of energy for the city, it's giving Monsters Inc. Is it just me? Why is this scene at the shooting range so freaking hot? Like, why is it just doing it for me? Like, why? Please explain. And then on top of that, a silent conversation between the two of them. That is very interesting. And I will be picking up that little thank you. Honestly, was starting to get like the tiniest bit bored. Not like, I was just starting to get a little bit bored, and chapter 37 really like breathed some life back into this book. So I'm just gonna go through all of the things that I tabbed. Look at how beautiful. All the things that I tabbed in this chapter. This is me clinging to literally anything, but so when Bryce is like freaking out and Hunt is like trying to like, you know, console her and like make her feel better, it says it was instinct to take her hands in his own. Instinct, as if you're mates perhaps. Am I crazy? I hope I'm not crazy. And then when they get to the scene and he says, I can look for us. For us? Like, that was so cute. And then when Bryce was like, do you still have a thing for Shahar? And he was like, until the day I die. I'm falling in love with him. I hate to be the one to say it, but I am. I'm falling in love with this man. To close out this chapter with Declan being like, yeah, the footage was swapped and it was Danica's mother. Very interesting. This is crazy. Like, I'm so excited to see where this goes from here. So that ends part 2. So I'm about to start part 3, the canyon. This is really good. Like, it was like the tiniest bit slow. I need a kiss. So sorry. I just need one kiss. Like, I need more of this like tension that we're having between them. But that's just me. I really like Hunt. Like, the way that like Bryce is like, I'm going for a run, goes to change, comes back, he's already changed, and she's like, I want to go by myself, and he's like, too bad. I love that energy. And then welcome back to my mini series of me trying to find connections between these series, even if this particular thing has something to do with the rest of the series. You get what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. The witches, it says that their power mostly passed through the female line, which I thought was very interesting because, spoiler alert for Throne of Glass, there's only female witches in Throne of Glass. Like, connection? Am I crazy? If I'm crazy, don't tell me. Just let me live in this fantasy. So I wanted to talk about my thoughts on them thinking that Sabine, that's how we're gonna say it, them thinking that she, manipulated the footage or whatever happened. I feel like because it's only 50% into the book, this is like a red herring situation where like it's gonna be a misunderstanding. It wasn't actually her, it was whoever else. I'm still firmly in the camp that Danica took the horn. I don't know where it is now, but that's just my guess. Oh, and obviously my guess earlier that Rune was the one murdering, not murdering everybody, that he murdered the vampire because he was like trying to get handsy with Bryce. I don't think that that's what happened. I'm also wondering what happens with the power that's taken from you when you go to make a wish at one of those gates, because they're like, oh, it takes power, but puts it where? Like, is that power that then goes into like powering the city, or is it just taken? And I feel like they keep talking about that, and that has to be important. Hunt talking about how much fun he has with Bryce, I just thought was so cute. Like, I can't get enough of Hunt right now. Like, I need something to happen between the two of them because it's too much. But then Bryce and Therion flirting, like, I really liked his character, just the vibes. I have been waiting to see these little otter messengers because I've seen like stickers of the little otters and I'm just like, what is that? And I knew it was from Crescent City. So they're really cute. And I'm just very happy that I now know what that is. Okay, Bryce's tattoo on her back saying through love all is possible in some language that she just doesn't know. My heart, I feel like that's gonna mean something like later on down the line, if that's what the Oracle told Danica. The tension between Bryce and Hunt is just doing too much. I need it to snap. I need a fuck it scene. I need it. Emily, is that her name? Emily suggesting that Danica died because she was busy texting Bryce back is crazy. I have a question. What is sunball? Is it like football or baseball? Or is it its own thing completely? I feel like we're just supposed to know. Unless it was explained and I just missed it. For some reason, I feel like Danica took the horn and Sabine is lying to protect her. But maybe I'm just like wanting that as a twist instead of just it's halfway in the book and we know who killed her. And the way that the wolf pack treated Bryce after the murders, like writing this song and sending her the lyrics like to her apartment, it's just so wildly unnecessary. But when Hunt asked her and was like, oh, who said those things, I was like, give him names! Give him names! This moment where they're close together and he's like, would you like me to yell, Bryce? And she just goes, maybe. I am like sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm like, yes, finally. And then this freaking demon, the Crystallos, that's what we're going with. The Crystallos demon that just is like, psych. I'm over it. This book is getting so good. So much happened in the last couple chapters. Bryce being like, Hunt had only like, he could do one or the other. Like he could either push Bryce out of the way or grab a weapon, and he chose Bryce. Is it just me, or is the Med Witch, because we don't know her name still, is the Med Witch suspicious? And Micah, honestly, the two of them are a little suspicious to me. Like, I was not suspicious of Sabine. I already told you my theory on that. But this whole thing with Micah just being weird, like trying to get rid of the evidence of the demon. That's what it felt like to me. So I think he's involved in it somehow. And the Med Witch is also kind of weird. This moment on the roof where Bryce is like letting him have access to her throat, and like it's just so hot. And then Sabine shows up and I'm like, who invited you? I didn't. And in this moment, I love that we're kind of seeing like Hunt going through everything in his head, trying to figure out like what's the best way to protect Bryce. And my heart, like, it was just so sweet. And I will say this, I guessed this correctly, that Danica stole the horn. I don't know the motivation behind it, but I knew it! I really love how patient Hunt is being with Bryce as she's like processing the information that they just got from Sabine. I think it's so sweet. So a couple chapters ago, Hunt was saying that people's spirits are like roaming around the bone quarter, or it's like rumored that that's what's happening. Something along those lines. But is there a chance that Danica could come back? Or am I just like completely delusional? I really need to know what happened between Bryce and this like demon prince guy. And I also need to know what happened. Like, what did the Oracle tell her? What did it see? I guess it didn't tell her anything, but what did the Oracle see? It's mentioned again here that the Northern Rift can like take you to another realm. And I really think that this is where the Fae went from Throne of Glass. So the demon prince wants Bryce to make the drop. I think that she wants Hunt to be her anchor because he suggested Rune and she was like, no. I think she wants him to be the anchor, but he doesn't want to anchor her because it's too much. I'm freshly showered, ready to just sit down and read, but I needed to express a few things. So I switched over to my Kindle, and Bryce offering for Hunt to still live with her after the investigation is over. My heart. This scene where she's like helping him shower and wash his hair is just, it's everything to me. And then like her laying down with him after is just, oh, my heart. But then this scene in the kitchen the next day, I was so ready for it to go down, for it to go nowhere. We are over 500 pages in and nothing. Okay, this line just really did something to me. It said he'd done his best to ignore it, to forget about how close he'd come to begging her to touch him, to let him touch her. Begging her. I love it. Hunt finally opening up about his mom. Just like, he said this about his mom. He was like, she was nothing to them, but she was everything to me. And my heart just was breaking and breaking and breaking. And then my heart just started breaking again when she's talking about how she doesn't want to get her leg healed because like it'll just erase Danica and the pack. And it was just, this is just like so hard. I think I'm obsessed with Hunt because the way that he just bought this white opal and was like, you could use some joy. Oh my gosh. I am so obsessed with Hunt. Like, Bryce saying, I can handle myself. And he's like, I can't handle myself, knowing that you might be in danger. Hunt, like, seeing that the top croissant, like what it said, and just like immediately taking off. I'm so excited. You're my mirror. Like, that's so cute. The Med Witch, whose name we still don't know, by the way. The Med Witch saying that Bryce and Hunt have a strong bond. Mates. They have to be mates. You can't tell me they're not. Hunt trying to comfort her while she's getting this procedure done, and is like, you know, when I met you for the first time, like, obviously she didn't remember it too well, but he was like, when I saw you for the first time, I just thought like that's someone I'd want to have guarding my back. That's a friend I'd like to have. And I was just, my heart. Like, they're so cute. Finally, the lightest little like mention of a kiss, and I am eating this up. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And him being like, sweetheart, I've got you. Ah, he's so perfect. No way they're gonna take his wings right now. I swear to God, if that happens, I'm gonna lose it. Bryce, oh my God. Bryce exchanging her spot so that Danica, like, oh my God, I can't. Okay, Danica's password being through love all is possible. Ouch. But then Bryce being like, oh wait, that might be a clue. Look at how many tabs I have. But then Bryce being like, oh, maybe that's a clue. I need to know what's on this flash drive. Finally, we get a moment between Bryce and Hunt, and I just feel like anytime we get like the tiniest bit of something, it's like, oh, just kidding, this is what's happening instead. But like, it's getting hot and heavy. I'm like, okay, finally, almost 600 pages into this book. And then the whole time I'm thinking about, I was like, what about his back? Like, is he like sitting on the couch? Like, how is he sitting so that it's not hurting? Okay. Oh, there's my dog. But I don't think that anything good is gonna come from Bryce going to visit Therion without anybody. Like, no Rune, no Hunt, just her. There's no way that ends well. I'm literally like, I don't even know what to say. Hunt's face became clear. What are you doing? Like, what is going on? So I just finished part 3. Wow, definitely the best part of the book so far. I liked part 1 a lot though. So right now, part 3, then 1, then 2. I feel like 2 was the most boring part of the book. Maybe that's just me. Oh my gosh, okay, so I don't know how to feel because yes, Hunt was there. And I feel like it's a misunderstanding. Am I just being like too optimistic about the situation? I feel like it was just a misunderstanding, and I don't like how they're painting Danica and how like, oh, well, Danica was just this addict and that's why like they all died. It just makes me feel like that's not 100% the truth, but I could be wrong. Oh my gosh, like those last couple chapters just really got my heart going. I genuinely feel like Bryce and Hunt are mates. So I feel like something's gonna happen. Like, Bryce is gonna realize that it was all a misunderstanding. Her and Rune are gonna go save Hunt. Like, I think that that's what's gonna happen. Again, could be wrong, but that's my guess. I really feel like Micah has something to do with all of this. Like, he's the problem. So Hunt belongs to Sandriel now? This last part of the book, it is so thin, but it's about to wreck me. Will I say thank you afterwards though? We'll find out. What did Fury think was gonna happen when she told Bryce that Hunt belonged to Sandriel now? 1. But 2, I don't know how to feel about her going and like offering herself up and being like, take me instead. Because I feel like she got over being upset with him pretty quickly to just be like, oh, take me. I'm sure there's some like grandmaster plan if I know Sarah J. Maas, but I just don't know how to feel about it. And then Hunt being like, don't come looking for me again. But then Rune in front of everybody being like, she's my sister. She's technically my property. So she's not going to give herself up. The drama. So much drama. And I'm wondering how, like, what her master plan is to get him out of that situation, because there's no way, unless there is a way, but there's no way that that's just how it's going to go down. I knew the Med Witch was suspicious, but for her to be the queen of the witches, okay. I'm just wondering, like, where's that gonna go? But Rune seems deeply upset about this. Oh, so much just happened in, I think that was chapter 77. So we find out that Bryce is the Horn, which I was not expecting at all. With the whole tattoo thing, I'm like, okay, this is starting to make sense. It's coming together. And then Micah, who I knew couldn't be trusted, is like, yeah, it was me the whole time. I'm the problem. Which I feel like I said that. And it was very suspicious that he was like, yeah, if you figure it out, we'll just put your sentence down to 10 when he was having the deal with Hunt. So now he's putting Cyrenix in he's like feeding that animal thing. And I have not started chapter 78 yet, but I remember when Hunt first started saying with Bryce, and he was like, it can like teleport basically. So I want to call it a dog. What is it? A chimera? It'll be fine. I'm not worried. What I'm worried about is how Bryce is going to get out of this, because they're like, where's the backup? Nowhere to be seen. Why is Lev doing this to me? My friends are behind me and I will protect them. Like, are you kidding me? This is not fair. I love Bryce. The way that she went absolutely cuckoo bonkers, insane, and killed Micah, but then followed it up with like, yeah, the bullet, and then here's a sword, which I knew she had Danica's sword. And then on top of that, I'm gonna like continue using the sword and then light you on fire and then vacuum it up. Like, that was so good. I love Ethan being like, I'm coming, like I'm gonna be there, Bryce. Like, it just feels like the full circle moment that I needed. The way she pushed Ethan out of the way, and then her saying her goodbyes to everybody and be like, I need you to call my mom. I need you to call my dad. Oh my god, and what she said about Rune. There's no way she dies. She can't die. Right. Hypaxia just removed the halo on Hunt's head, and I'm like so ready for him to go absolutely apeshit. Like, I can't wait. Danica being her anchor. It's perfect. I officially finished this book last night. There was not a lot of recording happening after Danica's voice like came through the gate. I was so unwell. I cried an obscene amount of times, but I still enjoyed the book. The book was great. I just like was so emotionally invested. I was not expecting to have that kind of reaction. So Hunt like falling to basically his death just to protect Bryce was so, like, it was just such an emotional moment. Okay, so then after that, her doing the drop by herself, and so now that she, like, you know, basically exceeded the levels of the Autumn King, I really think that now she's gonna have a little bit of everybody's powers. And now she's going to be able to do everything. Like, she went from this half-breed and everybody, like, giving her shit for it, to now she is, like, the most powerful being. I could see that happening for sure. When she sends that message back to Connor and she's like, I'm home, and then she sees, like, the 6 of them, it was so... I was just so emotional. That's the only way I can explain it. It was just so good. But then this final, like, the epilogue really just confused me. I was just like, okay, I guess we'll see where this goes. I looked at the second book, and the 3 parts of the second book are the final 3 levels of hell. So I feel like it's just gonna get worse and worse from here. Like, it's only gonna get worse. We're just, like, descending further into madness is what it feels like. If you have watched this far, thank you so much for watching. And comment who your favorite character is in the first book. I don't want any spoilers for the second or third book, but yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.